Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Ask the Mayor. I'm your host, Bria Jones, joining you now from inside City Hall with Flint Mayor Sheldon Neeley. Now, as the state starts to ease COVID-19 restrictions, how is the city planning to reopen?
Right, we're paying close attention to the CDC and also other state guidelines as they reopen and reactivate our nation and also our state of Michigan. Our county is a little bit behind because I know they talked about being at 55% or better vaccination rate, but the county right now is about 46%, and we're watching that with a close eye. We have Dr. Lawrence Reynolds, who has been secured for that purpose, making sure that we are safe here in City Hall and also that we're guiding our residents correctly. And so we're watching what is going on, and we're going to be engaging very soon.
And Governor Whitmer has laid out some hard dates, June 1st and July 1st, for lifting of those mask mandates. Do you know when we could start to see City Hall reopening and people being able to come inside?
Right, we set some tentative dates. Right now we're talking to our department heads and also getting our staffing levels, bringing people back into the workplace, looking at all that. And so that migration is going to take the better part of a month in order to fully get that engaged. And so we're looking within that particular window once everything starts to operate back fully in the state of Michigan.
As you mentioned, the vaccination rates are lagging. I know you've been vaccinated. What's your message to the general public here?
My message to the general public is to go out there and secure the vaccination. We want to make sure we protect ourselves, our family, and also our society. And in order to get back to business as usual or best as usual, we have to be able to do the best things for us and our family to stay safe. And right now, I believe that to be the vaccination. I have done so. Me and my family, and we're engaging, and we're paying close attention to all the numbers and watching who's going to get vaccinated and who's not, and trying to get to what they call a herd immunity.
And let's look at the budget. You proposed a $71 million budget. What's the timeline to get that budget approved?
Well, June 1st is there. They have the obligation to modify in small portions of what we put in front of them. It's a state deadline. It's a mandate that they have to pass a balanced budget. We put before them what I call the blessed and fragile budget. And so we're waiting on them to get beyond some of the issues that they may have internally with one another and structurally. We've been answering all their questions. We've had no less than 7 budget meetings to go over this, but it's time now to put the chicanery behind and move and put people first. And that budget that we presented, that blessed but fragile budget, is putting people first and all the priorities therein. So we need to move beyond those impediments that council may have with one another, the infighting, the marathon meetings. So we definitely have to make sure that we put people first, and that's what the city administration's budget does, is put people first.
Do you believe that the budget will be approved in time? And what would you say would be some of the holdups you feel is keeping the budget in limbo right now?
Well, it's just those impediments on council. Some of those individuals on council have been obstructionists. Since this administration has been in place, they have not been working fully with this administration, but the people of this community deserve so much more. And so time out for child's play, and we have to get serious about doing the work of the people. Some of the things that they have to do is this is a budget mandated by law, by state law, and if they fail to do so, they'll be in violation of law. And so it's time for them to put up the child's play and let's get to doing the people's business.
June 1st is just a few days away. What happens if the budget is not approved by June 1st?
Well, what happens at that particular time, I will submit our budget, within accordance with law, saying that we have placed this in front of the council. If they fail to take action therein, we'll see if that budget goes into place without their confirmation of the numbers. But we definitely want to move forward, and we have to be in compliance. I'm not going to allow council to make illegal actions or make us all illegal by violations because of their failure to do their job.
City Council is currently looking at a lot of money. Talk to me, how does this COVID relief funding impact the overall budget?
Well, it doesn't impact this overall budget that was presented to them. Administration has the responsibility, the full responsibility of presenting a budget to them. The COVID relief money The $95 million it won't be ingested. It will be ingested into this budget cycle, but not into this particular budget. That money has yet to arrive to where it has been accepted, but it won't be in the structure of this particular budget. They have to approve this budget, and then those dollars will be implemented through budget amendments after we make sure we ingest those dollars correctly by the letter of the law.
What are your priorities for that funding? I know we've talked a lot about this before, but if you could lay out for those watching, just what would you like to see done with the money? If I would ask you, what are your top 3 priorities?
Right. For the last 3 weeks, we've been petitioning the community for their input. And what we hear all the time is about public safety. We hear about blight relief inside the city of Flint, economic development, and infrastructure repair. And so those, you asked for 3, but I gave you 4. But definitely, and we want to make sure that we talk about homeowner rehab, low interest, no interest, and forgivable loans for families that may want to rehab their homes. And so those are some of the things that we've been hearing from the public. So the priority list is set by the public, and we're fully listening to the public. And so public safety, blight, infrastructure, and economic development, especially down the poverty corridor where we have seen economic disenfranchisement over years, we're definitely going to be investing a lot into our community.
As the mayor, you know the needs of the city better than anyone. What would you say needs to happen first?
Well, public safety and the stabilization of our public safety, but first and foremost, we have to stop with our self-inflicted wounds. The crime that's being committed up on residents in this community is being committed by the other residents in this community. So we have to have a level of civility and unity in the community. Blight. I witnessed somebody yesterday in my neighborhood, in a vacant structure behind my home where I live, illegally dumping. And so we have to be able to push back against that virus of the mind, the blight of mind, where people would treat this community as a garbage can. And so those are priorities. And then we also have to talk about economic growth and development in order to sustain us moving forward. And so those are the priorities in which we have really focused on, and how we are curing the elements of this community with those 3 important pieces.
A lot of people have been mentioning online that they're concerned about the transparency when it comes from the city officials, when it comes to the COVID relief funding. Will there be more community conversations? I know there's a poll and there have already been conversations that have started. Will there be more when it comes to discussing how this $95 million will be spent?
Right. This administration has made a very strong commitment to having full transparency, and those that will have something anti to say about that will be more political in nature. We have been dealing with an insurrection for a long time, insurrection of minds, because of the close election that happened with me in the previous administration, and we still have those individuals that has not come along to join on. Those are the individuals mostly talking about the lack of transparency. Like I said before and earlier, we had no less than 8 budget meetings, 7 budget meetings, and even pushing forward to more budget meetings as it relates to this, town hall meetings as it relates to these dollars. And then also with that, we're engaging the review of what the federal standards are, how we can use this money. This money is not a savior for this community with this deficit type of activity mindset that we're trying to cure now. And so we have to really work toward a better, a wholesome type of activity as it relates to making sure we communicate better. This community was at the intersection of crisis, a water crisis, a civil unrest, and also a pandemic. We have done a fantastic job in less than 2 years of dealing with all these things that we have to deal with. And we still have those obstructionists of mind, obstructionists in political positions that's still harming the public. And every time they do something around those areas, it harms the public. And so it's time out for all those things, and people need to push back against those negative, dark-hearted individuals that's doing those type of activities.
And let's go to another ongoing problem here. Earlier this week, there was a fire at Sunset Village Apartments. What's the update with the owner? We know that owner is an habitual non-payer when it comes to water fees and taxes. They also own Richfield Court Apartments. What's the update with the owner there and those housing complexes?
Yeah, one of the failures that we've had in this community is when we have all these distractions, these political distractions, the naysayers and all the ones who's causing chaos and manufacturing a level of discourse. We have people, on the other hand, that tries to get away with these other things, non-utility payers, leaving these blighted commercial structures in our community. And so what we've done is that we're balancing this here, over here with those people that's trying to perfect this course, and we're actually attacking these individuals, these habitual non-payers, and these people who are taking advantage of the discourse. And so we're doing a fantastic job with this administration. We're going after them legally. We're secured one structure. We're going to push to the fact that either to forfeit that property to be able to recoup the cost, pay it back to the taxpaying citizens of this community, especially when we talk about utilities. And when we have habitual non-payers, it's only leaving responsibility for those others that are actually paying into the system. And we want to get to a flat rate study. We want to get to where we can pay an affordable water bill for safe, quality water in this community. And we're on the road to just doing just that.
As you just mentioned, one of the structures is secured, Richfield Court Apartments, but the people over in the Glendale Hills neighborhood, they want Sunset Village to be secured as well. Is that something that the city is currently looking at?
Yep, we're currently looking at that, and we have made some type of plans trying to figure out how we're going to go about that. But remember, this is at the expense of the tax-paying citizens, and we're making sure that we're spending their money wisely to secure these vacant structures, and also to recoup the dollars for securing these structures from those who violate, our community. And so we're looking at that. We're looking at all those things, and we've been moving, at a great rate of speed, trying to get these things done, because when we came into office, those two structures, they were more than $1 million behind in their utility payments. They were blighted structures. They were lightly inhabited. We have taken aggressive action to rehab all of those things, to try to get the taxpayers' dollars back, to secure these structures, to make sure that people have affordable, safe places to live in this community. And so we're doing some great work here. And I'm very proud of the team, of the City of Flint workers that's putting this work forward, especially in this very traumatic time.
Earlier this week, a number of citizens called into the city council meeting to complain about the delay in trash and yard waste pickup. What's being done to get that issue under control?
Yep, we're holding our service provider accountable. If people remember, a few years back, it was a lot of failures going on around waste collection, and it was a big debacle around who was going to provide the service. I inherited this particular provider, and we're holding their feet to the fire. And when they are not fulfilling all the obligations, we're actually dispatching city teams to be able to fill the gap for residents. We cannot always just wait on the service provider to do better. We have to provide a service for residents, and we're committed to providing that service at the service provider's expense. We dispatch teams out to help pick up yard waste and compost, but we did it at the expense of our service provider, not at the expense of taxpaying citizens. And so we're going to continue to try to provide the best level of service that we can, and we're requiring a service level from our service providers. The emergency managers, when they came into the city of Flint, they stripped us of many different things, and one of the things that they stripped out of the city was our waste collection services. That used to be an operation in which we had embodied, that we did with our own local workers and our own local equipment here in this community. That has been taken away from us, and now we're working our way back to trying to get a level of service that we can all be proud of.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, and thank you at home for watching and tuning in to the latest edition of Ask the Mayor. If you have any questions or concerns or comments, you can send us an email at ask@midmichigannow.com. Thanks for watching.